Hello and welcome to Feed Your Mind. So earlier I did a video about sundogs, and on the way home tonight I was driving into my driveway and I looked up and noticed that the moon had a halo around it. So I would suppose that that would be called a moon dog, and I looked it up and apparently it is called a moon dog, and it's the same thing where they're saying the ring around the moon has something to do with ice crystals. But the thing is that this moon dog reflected to me that the moon is not 238,000 miles away. Science wants you to believe the moon is 230,000 miles away for a reason, because right away you're looking at that moon and it looks like it's right above the clouds, and you see that ring around the moon, and that to me indicates that the moon is right above the clouds. The moon is not too far above those clouds, because for the moon to leave such a tight circle like that, with the radius as big as it is, not that much bigger than the moon, you would have to know that the moon is giving off its own light. It's not reflecting light from the sun, it's providing its own light. And when I seen that moon circle, and it was like a rainbow, what I saw. And so when I noticed that tight circle around the moon, you have to know that moon is very close to us. Because if the moon was actually 250,000 miles away, you would think that circle that appears right below the moon, which they call a moon dog, would be a much bigger circle. But if you really think about it, there would be no circle at all, because with the moon being that far away, I don't believe that any circle would occur at all. Because at that distance, how could such a focused beam of light reflect? Because if you have a flashlight and you move the flashlight close to the ground, you'll notice how the circle will be a tight circle. And so you'll notice with this demonstration that I did with the flashlight that the closer you get to the carpet, the tighter the circle gets. And you see, you can even recreate this moondog effect with getting the flashlight as close as possible to the carpet, and then you start to notice a ring around it, and then the outer ring, as you notice in the moon, is actually very similar to this demonstration. And so this is repeatable, observable, scientific demonstrations where we can get answers. And so you see, the moon had to be close, because you'll notice that the farther that you move away from the carpet, the circle becomes less and less dense. And as you move farther and farther away, the ring becomes less and less visible. It kind of just becomes like a regular light in the room where the entire room becomes lit up. I mean, you can kind of make out a circle shape, but it's just not really there like it is when you move in very close. So this demonstration of a moon dog seems to imply that the moon that we're seeing is very close to the clouds. It's not 250,000 miles away. It appears with how tight that circle is around the moon must have been much, much closer. I'm guessing, anywhere from 300 miles to 1,000 miles away, as a rough guess. I mean, I have no idea how far away it is. It's just that we know for sure that it wasn't 250,000 miles away, just due to the tightness of the circle of the moon dog. And so with the clouds being so high in the sky and the moon not being terribly far from it, it can give off a focused beam of light like that. And this is not the first thing I've witnessed. Just not even a week ago, I filmed a strange occurrence, because I've always noticed this one star in the sky, and it shines brighter than all the other stars I've ever seen, and it looks like it's not really far from the surface of the earth. And I've seen it once before, maybe twice before, and it's very striking, because when you look at it, it looks like it's almost hovering above your head, just not too far, even closer than the moon, it appears. And so I finally captured footage of this star. And I suppose many would call it Jupiter, and that's what I'm guessing, because they would say how Jupiter is such a massive star. It really is a star. See, people think it's a planet, but the scientists already admit that Jupiter is a gas giant. It's a star. And so I feel honored to have witnessed this star again, because I almost made a video about it last year, but I never got around to it. And for this star to finally appear again, I immediately took out my phone and grab some video footage of it because I was going to describe it to you guys about a year ago, but I didn't have the footage and I never really seen that star again. But now that I've seen it again, I was able to quickly grab some footage of it and maybe we can analyze this. So what is this thing? I mean, when you're out there looking at this star, it looks like it's much closer than any other celestial object I've ever seen before. And I remember one year it even looked closer. And so in the Bible, Lucifer was actually referred to as a morning star. So in Isaiah 14, verse 12, the Bible speaks of Lucifer as a fallen star. And it says, "How you have fallen from heaven, O shining star, son of the morning. You have been thrown down to earth, you who destroy the nations of the world." So you see how it's referring to Lucifer as an actual star that has fallen. And we have discussed in earlier videos how meteors are actually falling stars. So they're not actually solid rocks. And there's plenty of evidence to back up that meteors are not physical objects. Meteors are actually fireballs and they're actually falling stars. I don't know why they're falling, but that's what they are. And the Bible speaks of a third of the angels falling from heaven. And this brings into question Nibiru and Planet X and Wormwood. And I'm going to make a video about that very soon because a lot of the Christians believe in this Planet X that's going to come down from another galaxy or something. And they actually believe it's orbiting around the sun. And it takes a lot longer to make its journey than any other planet in the solar system. So when it finally comes around, there's going to be big trouble. But the thing is, when they speak of Wormwood, they're actually speaking of a star that's right here in the sky. And we don't know what these stars are. So when you look up in the sky and see these stars, there might be good angels, there might be bad angels. We don't know what they are. But the Bible refers to stars many times as angels. And you just saw right there how Lucifer was described as a star, but then he fell. And so in the last video, I discussed how the moon's origin story has changed. And so science really has no idea how that moon got there. And by their own admission, they said that there's a less than 1 or 2% chance that our moon could actually be there. So the official explanation by science has a 1% chance of being true. And now they came up with a new theory. And that theory has a 10% chance of being true. So you can watch that video. It's in my Flat Earth Proof playlist under the moon section. So if you missed it, go check it out. I also discussed the moons of other planets in that video and how they're saying all these planets have moons orbiting around them. So I actually cover that subject as well in the same video. So you get kind of 2 in 1 there. But anyway, if you guys have seen this star that I'm talking about that looks very close, I feel it actually is very close. The thing is, what is it? So I think it's very strange. And I remember last time I seen it, it was strange. And I really felt like it was watching us. And when I saw it the first time, it was literally above the house. But this was before I knew about flat earth. And so I was on my way in the house again and I looked up, and when I saw the star, it looked like it was right above my neighbor's house. It looked kind of like a UFO or something. We don't know if they're just simply lights in the sky or if there's more to them. So from what I've been seeing about stars, they kind of behave a little strange. And I've seen movement of stars. I think people mistake those for UFOs all the time. And we've seen how the Bible refers to stars as angelic beings. And even Satan himself was once a star that fell to earth, which would be a meteor. And so stars, we have to wonder about what they really are. They're definitely not what science has been telling us. They're not burning suns in the sky. And if you think that star was Jupiter, it was definitely not millions of miles away. You can tell that the star was very close. And the moon that I saw with the moon dog circle, the halo circle that indicates a close moon, that was definitely not 250,000 miles away. The moon was very close. And so the firmament above us, NASA has taken control of, and they're taking control of the skies. All the governments of the world are in on this. They're really not separate countries. They're all working together, and they're all tied together through this Illuminati web. So all these space programs are not individual programs. They're all together. They're all tied together. They're all one thing. and they're all hiding the sky from you, and they're telling you a different story about what the sky really is. And they made everybody believe that the sky was outer space for the last 500 years. The sky is not outer space. It is the dome firmament above us. So when you look up in that sky, know that you have been lied to. And so make sure you check out the Sundogs video after this. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for tuning in. This has been another episode of Feed Your Mind. Signing off.